We fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
Protesting anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor and where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds for deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify when you and God and time are best aligned.
You are listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and chief White House correspondent. Did y'all see or hear that Breakfast Club interview this morning with Wendy Williams? Wendy Williams speaking out against conservatorship, saying, quite frankly, that she's in prison. The Grill reporting that just 1 year after that explosive documentary suggested that Wendy Williams' health may be declining, the veteran talk show host is asking for the public's help in regaining her freedom. This morning, the 60-year-old former talk show host called into the Breakfast Club for an exclusive interview. Hat tip to Charlemagne the God and everybody over at the Breakfast Club. It was a great get. She called into this interview insisting that despite being diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, also known as FTD, as well as primary progressive aphasia in 2023, she's, quote, not cognitively impaired. After Charlemagne explained that Williams was calling in because she was trapped. She was trapped. That's what she said. She said she was trapped. She said, quotes, I'm not cognitively impaired, but I feel like I'm in prison. I'm in this place where the people are in their 90s and their 80s and their 70s. There's something wrong with these people here on the floor. As for conservatorship, Williams described it as emotional abuse. She said, quotes, the system is broken. The former TV personality said that since her diagnosis, she's been forced to stay in maximum security care facility where she just stares out the window. She stares out the window by herself in her room. Her cats have been taken from her custody, and she has no control over her own finances and possession of her phone. And so, she called into the show today along with her niece, Alex, who corroborated her aunt's claims. So this wasn't like, Wendy Williams, found a phone line somewhere and decided to call into Charlemagne. But, she called in with the support of her niece, Alex. And her niece said that her aunt's guardian, Sabrina Morisi, has possession of Williams' older phone. Williams has also been barred from spending her own money and instead has to have someone else make purchases for her. Probably one of the most heart-wrenching parts of the interview was when Wendy shared that her desire to head to Miami to visit her 94-year-old father for his birthday, but she's unsure if she'll be allowed to. And That's a major concern. And I think this illuminates a real challenge that a lot of people in conservatorships have to contend with all the time. Remember the whole Free Britney movement? Remember when Britney Spears was on the conservatorship and it was trending on social media, free Britney, free Britney, free Britney? Well, Britney got free. The question is, will Wendy get free? Will this interview, offer her at least an opportunity to go back to court, or for somebody to go back to court to challenge this conservatorship, right? The question is not just about checking in on and making sure that you're caring for, whoever it is that's in need of conservatorship, but like, who checks the conservator? Who checks the conservator? And so I think that's a big question. And I suspect that some judge, some lawyer must have been listening in on that interview. And so I suspect this is not the last that we'll hear of Wendy's situation. But, Wendy's, she's famous and she's going to get a whole lot of attention. But there are a lot of people out there who are a lot less famous that need this kind of attention on their conservatorship. And so we're going to keep an eye on this story. Next week, I know we're going to be talking to some experts in the caregiving space about this and so much more. But moving along, ABC is reporting that former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi won't attend the inauguration. So it's not just our forever First Lady Michelle Obama, but the forever House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will not attend President-elect Trump's inauguration, according to her spokesperson. Pelosi notably attended Trump's inauguration in 2017 when she was the House Democratic leader. A spokesman did not disclose the reason why the California Democrat is skipping this high-profile event, but please note that she broke her hip. Y'all remember that? She broke her hip on an international trip to Luxembourg late last year, but she returned to the Capitol for both the first day of the new Congress as well as the count for the electoral votes on January 6th. And so attending 11 inaugurations so far, Pelosi has rubbed elbows with presidents at their inaugurations dating back to her high school days with John F. Kennedy when he was sworn into office in 1961. Doesn't look like Donald J. Trump is going to be number 12 for her. And just an update in LA wildfire news. There are new wildfire concerns in LA, strong winds next week, and mudslides. USA Today reporting that firefighters were making steady progress on the deadly fires that have destroyed thousands of homes and other buildings across the region. But residents must prepare for a return of the strong winds that could rekindle and spread the flames. The LA Fire Department Chief, Kristen Crowley, said that a large amount of unburned dry fuel combined with low humidity and the expected return of the harsh Santa Ana winds next week could bring devastation. She urged residents to clear all the brush within 200 feet of their homes. Mudslides are also a concern. I was just talking about this in the hour before with a lawyer who specializes in wildfires. Mudslides are something that people are paying extra close attention to. LA County Public Works Director said that he expects massive debris flows when rain finally comes to the region. The county is scrambling to prepare flood control systems for that onslaught. And so, though we are encouraged that a number of these fires have been contained and things can be trending in a different direction, there are still challenges that we have to be vigilant about well into the future. When we come forward, if you Airbnb your property, or if you thought about Airbnb in your property, I'm looking forward to this conversation with Susan Bailey, who is going to talk with us about how she has Airbnb'd her property for good. She Airbnb'd her property to really demonstrate what disaster relief can look like when people have been displaced. We're going to hear her story and hear what she's doing when we come forward. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TOOL for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TOOL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TOOL.
Taxes was waiting around for your taxes to be done, which led to worrying about not getting any money back. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes in a day to get you up to $4,000 fast with a refund advance loan. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Expert filing only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Refund Advance has $0 loan fees and 0% APR. Refund Advance loans may be issued by First Century Bank, N.A. or Web Bank. Terms apply, subject to approval.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to welcome to the show Susan Bailey. Every show, I like to say, do what you can from where you are with what you have. And it seems that Susan Bailey has done exactly that. She's an Airbnb host, and she has like 5 homes in Los Angeles, and she's opened them all up to evacuees. Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nee. Great to be with you.
Well, great to have you. And so talk to us about what inspired you to make not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but all 5 of your homes in LA. What inspired you to open it up to folks in need, to these evacuees that are disoriented and displaced?
That's a great description and a very sad one at best. The devastation in LA is beyond what is imaginable for any of us. And I would say that we have the gift of homes, and the gift of homes is being able to create a safe and comfortable place for someone who's in a state of shock, which is the best way that I can articulate what I think our friends and Angelinos are feeling. We are currently hosting a family from Altadena in one of our homes, and we're welcoming another family tomorrow night, also from Altadena. all looking for a short-term reprieve until they have clarity about what next in their lives. We have been Airbnb.org hosts since 2017, and Airbnb.org is the charitable arm or the nonprofit arm of Airbnb that assists people in need in crisis. And you may have heard, I'm certain you have, that Airbnb has offered to house 25,000 evacuees currently, all from defined evacuated areas, and they are providing short-term housing for free. And then hosts like us can extend that offer to guests for a longer period of time to provide free or substantially discounted housing. Why do we do it? I feel like the human condition is the condition of wanting to help others in need. And this is the perfect environment whereby we can step up. To whom much in life is given, much is expected. And that would be the best way I can describe it, Dr. Nee, is it's a gift for us to be able to extend this gift to others who so desperately need it right now.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, one of the wonderful things about documenting what is afoot in Los Angeles County related to the wildfires is, as Mr. Rogers put it, look for the little helpers. Look for the little helpers. And Susan, you absolutely caught my attention. You caught the attention of our producers as being one of those little helpers. Talk to us about any experience that you had in your childhood, in adulthood, that really strengthened your conviction around doing this to give back to people in need.
You know, I think, Dr. Nee, it started with my parents, who were Los Angeles County teachers, both retired. My father has passed away, and my mother is 91 and still living in Southern California. And one of the things she talked to my brother and I about as young children is providing everything from bananas and bars under her desk to kids that hadn't had breakfast. And that stuck with me from the time that I was a very young child. And she said, the greatest gift we can give to the others is the gift of ourselves. And whatever it is we have to offer, however small, however large, that's what will make a difference in the moment for that person. If someone doesn't have a coat, offer them a coat. And I think it started as, it was woven into the fabric of who I was, part of that being the child of public school teachers.
So really, it's that same spirit of public service, teaching, journalism. I mean, all of it is cut from the same cloth in terms of extending ourselves in kindness and sharing our expertise, our gifts with other people. Talk to us about some of the families that you're working with. 5 different families, 5 different homes that you have made available with the support of Airbnb.org. I'm sure you've had a chance to talk with them just a little bit about their stories. How are they processing the grief of all of this?
That is an excellent question and a really hard word to define. Just before I joined you on the show this evening, I talked to the family that we've been hosting now for about 10 days. So as soon as they evacuated, they came to our home at 6 a.m. the morning after the evacuation call in Altadena. And perhaps the most striking thing to me about this family, beautiful family, both employed in and around the Altadena area with a just under 3-year-old toddler, said, our home has been spared and everything around it is decimated. So Altadena will never be the same. We're most worried for our neighbors. What will 3rd-generation families do that have inherited their homes? They've lived in those homes now in a multi-generational kind of fashion. And where will they get the help and support that they need for all of the infrastructure that is going to be required to help them? And to me, that is beautiful when a family has very little, their cars, are no longer operable. Their home is partially standing, but very deeply smoke damaged. And if they return, they're returning to a neighborhood that has 3 out of hundreds of homes standing. And the way they've articulated it to me is it doesn't really matter whether your home is there or not there. Your community now has been, completely decimated. And how will we come back and build community again? The mother of the toddler said to me, I'm waking up every morning at 3 a.m. with monkey mind. I don't know what to do. I don't know what my next step is. And monkey mind is what we call that crazy mindset where your mind is racing and it's very difficult to decide what to do next. What's great is that she is helping neighbors in need. She's going to donation centers. And to me, someone who is in the position of strife that they're experiencing, to step up and say, I'm going to be a community member, regardless of my level of loss versus your level of loss. We're all in this together, and it's horrific, regardless of where you are on the continuum.
Are any of the folks that you are renting your Airbnb out to, your 5 Airbnbs, are any of them also home businesses? I've been thinking a lot about, people who work from home. Well, there's a lot more remote workers today, certainly than there was pre-pandemic. And I would imagine not being able to work from their home has perhaps, complicated their ability to work, to run their businesses, even if it's for a few hours a day, even if it's respite from the overwhelming challenges that they are facing so courageously. Any folks working from home at any of your Airbnbs?
So that's a great question. In the case that I just told you about, one is a work from home individual, and the other one goes to an office trying to get agreement from his employer to be able to work from home. But probably the most significant example, we haven't housed this individual yet, but we're looking to help support him. There's a person in Pacific Palisades who has lost his home, and he was a sound mixer and just beginning to work from home with his small studio to get new up and coming artists in LA to help launch them. And so his case is devastating. And we have reached out to people to look at how we can help him, maybe with a studio apartment or something that could serve as a short-term sound studio. So yes, I think the work from home scenario complicates it further, because home was not only where you live and where you find comfort, but where you work and how you earn a living.
Yeah. I'm so inspired by your service to community and to folks who um, are in despair and are disoriented by it all. And while this sounds like a great idea, this isn't the first time that you've done this. Apparently, you've opened your home up to Afghan refugees about 4 years ago. Talk to us about what you learned from that experience that has led you to do it again, probably scaling up your impact by making all 5 of your homes available.
Oh my gosh, you make me smile. So in 2017, at the end of the Obama administration, we received a call from Airbnb asking us to help Middle Eastern refugees who were special immigrant visa holders. They had been helping the US government, and in many cases, their lives were threatened. We hosted 7 different families from 6 different countries over the course of 2017 to 2021. And I suppose in life, the most unexpected activities can bring us the greatest joy. I never thought about hosting a refugee. I love the idea of supporting and helping immigrants and refugees. But when I got the call from Airbnb.org, they said, we have a family arriving on a flight tonight at midnight. Can you take them? And I'll never forget asking my husband, or can we do this? And he said, if you're in, I'm in. And that was all I needed to hear. And that evening, we met a translator who spoke Farsi, who brought to us the most beautiful family who was at risk of obviously death threats. And they flew to the U.S. not knowing where they would land. And we ended up having them and supporting them for about 3.5 months until they could find their own long-term housing. And the beautiful story is now they're homeowners. They're both working. Their 2 sons are in public schools and doing beautifully. And what an unbelievable story. And all they needed was a little boost, a little help. And housing is that help. And I would tell you, Dr. Nee, if anyone out there that's listening to us wants to know how they can help, it's so simple. You just go to airbnb.org and sign up. If you've never hosted anyone, but you have an empty room in your home and you're willing to provide it in the short term to evacuees, do it. You'll never, ever regret it. And if someone is already an Airbnb host, it's very easy to become a .org host and make your space available for free, for a discount, or using Airbnb's credit, which has been announced for 25,000 evacuees.
Wow.
That would be my greatest hope from our conversation today, is that other people get motivated and want to step up and make a difference.
Well, look, I know you've motivated at least one person. My husband just texted me and said, "This woman is phenomenal." And
I love your hub. I love your hub.
And I couldn't agree with him more. Susan, thank you so much for being a light in the world, corners of the world where it feels pretty dark, pretty bleak for some of our fellow Americans and community members. I want to encourage people again to go to airbnb.org to consider signing up to be a host. There's 25,000 credits out there for folks to do as much. And I'll be thinking about the bananas and bars story that you told about.
You asked me, and that was telling you. You asked me, and that was the first thing that came to mind. They had beautiful examples, but that is the one most telling from my early childhood.
Thank you, Susan Bailey. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, California State Assembly member Isaac Bryan joins us to talk about what the lawmakers in Sacramento are doing to support the folks on the ground in the LA area. More when we come forward.
About issues related to national politics, elections, identity, culture change, and social justice. You tuned into the right place. A More Perfect Union continues when we come forward.
The wind is blowing cold. Have we lost our way tonight? Have we lost our hope to sorrow?
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Fox News has confirmed the FBI has closed its Office of Diversity and Inclusion. The move follows criticism from Senator Marsha Blackburn, who claimed DEI practices endangered Americans after a New Year's Day terrorist attack. Wall Street is closing with stocks lower. It comes after the major averages had their best day since November on Wednesday. It's also as earnings season has started strong, with 77% of reporting companies having beat expectations. President-elect Trump may issue an order delaying TikTok's U.S. ban for 60 to 90 days to allow time for a sale or solution, per the Washington Post. The app is set to be banned Sunday, though Congress is considering a deadline extension. And Black Maryland House Speaker Adrienne Jones says Governor Westmore's budget reflects reduced federal funding and economic realities. She pledges to protect education, childcare, healthcare, and transportation investments. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
The dirt bike mob continues to race along the streets through Inglewood, currently at Nutwood Street and Osage Avenue, being pursued by police at this time. Looks like the Highway Patrol on motorcycles pursuing this group of dirt bikes. There's got to be at least 20 dirt bikes making their way up along Manchester Drive right now. Now they're in the area of SoFi Stadium, Prairie Avenue, right around the old Hollywood Park stretch. So just watch out. We're also heading out to the 405. This is making your way northbound. Delays in Culver City from the 90, and you remain on the brakes all the way to Nordoff and North Hills. Southbound side of the 405 slows in West LA from Santa Monica Boulevard That's a tough drive in stretches as you continue all the way back to Palo Verde in Long Beach.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store and everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron said today after practice he's been distracted the past several days with the wildfires in L.A. County and admitted he's been off his game. LeBron and his family are among a number of residents in the Brentwood area that had to evacuate their homes. Authorities have not given residents permission to return to the area. If LeBron says his game has been off lately, it's hard to tell. In the past 2 games, LeBron is averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, and shooting 61%. The Lakers are home Friday night against Brooklyn. The Rams are 6.5-point underdogs to Philadelphia in their NFL playoff game on Sunday. It's a noon kickoff LA time with live coverage on NBC. Magic Johnson's NFL team, the Washington Commanders, are a 9.5-point underdogs to Detroit, the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. The Commanders and Detroit have a 5 p.m. kickoff on Fox. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
You can do it all by yourself, baby girl. What's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy you a drink.
Spilled your drink? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand. So you can get back to your night. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection law.
Hey, Assembly member, you're in the wrong room.
Call our hotline at 1-888-694.
I'm gonna put this link in the chat and just click on it. We're on commercial. We're getting ready to come back.
Or visit stayhousedla.org.
Okay.
Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me.
National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. Always great to be in the company of a great public servant, very fine public servant, Assembly member Isaac Bryan joining us. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's good to be with you, brother.
It's always good to be with you. And unfortunately, the City of Angels, the City and County of Los Angeles is experiencing one of the worst disasters we've ever seen. But I'm glad that we have lawmakers like you on the job. Talk to us about how you and lawmakers, so many lawmakers in Sacramento, are organizing around protecting renters who are at serious risk for price gouging, among other things.
Well, I can tell you that we're highly motivated. I am vice chair of the Renters Caucus, and for the last 3 years, I was the only renter in Los Angeles in the entire state legislature. Now I've got a couple new colleagues, and I'm grateful for that because we couldn't use stronger tenant protections more than we do right now. My assembly district covers much of South LA and the West Side, and what we're seeing is some overflow from communities that have been severely impacted by the largest natural disaster to ever hit our city. It's forcing an influx of people into the rental market. And we're seeing landlords take advantage of that instead of stepping up to make sure that they do their part. And this is not all landlords, but we're seeing many who have had postings of homes and units for rent at the top of the year that were then taken down only to be reposted at 2x, 3x what they were previously posted on. That's unconscionable. That's illegal. But to make protections even stronger, we've just introduced a bill, AB 246, that would enable a rent freeze all across Los Angeles during this emergency.
I mean, it's great to hear this. I was just talking to some friends, feels like earlier this week, and my friend Cameron Johnson, who lives in the Hollywood Hills and had to evacuate. I think he was close to the Franklin fire, if I remember correctly. He was also concerned about, friends and folks in community that are renters. And he said, well, why aren't lawmakers freezing rents? They did it during COVID. Right. What's taking them so long? And so Assembly member, tell us, what's taking folks so long?
Well, the legislature just got back into session at the top of January, and local jurisdictions only have a limited number of units or type of units that they're allowed to freeze the rents for. It's not every unit, and it's not all units. That's why we have to take the lead here at the state. We introduced this legislation this week. The first week I was on the front lines making sure folks had aid and that we were connecting folks with disaster relief and building out community care and mutual aid networks. This week we got back to legislating. This bill, AB 246, has been introduced with an urgency clause, which means I've got my work cut out to me. I've got to get a 2/3 vote in the State House. But if I get a 2/3 vote in the State House, it goes into effect immediately. That's what I'm going to be pushing for. That's what many of my colleagues are going to be pushing for. But it's going to take all of the folks who are directly impacted and those who expect that they will be impacted to stand with us.
And in addition to AB 246, which is, again, a bill that is intended to freeze rents during this emergency, as the Assembly member just mentioned, it's going to require a 2/3 vote in order to go into effect. And so he has his hands full on that, but he's not stopping there. AB 247, Assembly Bill 247 is another bill that you're touting around increasing wages for incarcerated firefighters. Tell us more about that.
So what we see every time there is a large wildfire in California is that incarcerated firefighters are called to the front lines to do some of the hardest work to combat and contain these climate emergencies. But they're not paid like the firefighters or the heroes or the brave souls that they are. They're paid slave wages, $5 an hour in many instances. And what this emergency has done, like many before, it's called attention to that. But unlike previous attempts, we're not just going to talk about it, talk about the injustice, and then move on. We've got to correct this. And I believe we can do all things, by the way. I believe we can rebuild homes that were lost. I believe we can protect tenants. I believe we can stop price gouging. I think we can build climate resilience and home hardening. I think we can do all these things and with urgency, but we can't forget the heroes who are actively still on the front line. And that's the incarcerated workers, in addition to our first responders and firefighters. What AB 247 does is it calls for a wage increase for every incarcerated worker who is actively on the front lines fighting a fire for that time where you were in those flames, protecting the community around you, you should get paid as much as the lowest paid person who's not incarcerated, who's doing the exact same job. That's what this bill will do. It will bring parity. It will bring justice. It's humanistic, but it also is public safety. When you invest in folks who are incarcerated, you increase the likelihood that they come home and restart their lives with the foot up.
And will it be retroactive? So will it apply to, and how far back will it go?
So those are the questions that are still going on through committee. We've got to have that necessary conversation. I'm not sure if it can go retroactive. I'm not sure if we can get it an urgency put on it, just like the rent freeze, and push it up to a 2/3 vote and get it out quick enough that folks are still on the front lines. But I am exploring all of those options. But more than anything, I've wanted folks to know that we see them and we're willing to fight for them. Today is my 33rd birthday, and I spent much of today at the fire camps with the folks who are directly on the front lines. I was also at the Zuma Command Center meeting with first responders. We got to let the folks who are keeping us safe know that we see them, we appreciate them, and we're willing to pay them like the heroes that they are.
Well, happy birthday, Assemblymember Brian. We really appreciate you spending time with us. Before I let you go, I put this question to LA City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson earlier this week. I want to put it to you and anyone who will listen. It seems to me that the LA wildfires really represents a convergence of the climate crisis, the housing affordability crisis, and the insurance crisis. Can you talk to us about how Democrats in the California state legislature, how they are or how they aren't embracing that reality and really thinking about, bills this next legislative session in a much more dynamic way? Because as you know, as goes California, as goes the nation, we really have an opportunity to set a tone and to really raise the bar, set an example of how we navigate the convergence of crises in the years ahead.
Well, and I'll take it one step further, as goes Los Angeles, as goes California, as goes the nation. And I don't pretend to suppose that the current crisis we're in is some foreshadowing for the incoming administration. But I will tell you that California leaders are going to take these challenges head on. We've got to cut through the red tape, and we've got to build up the kind of housing that will allow people to grow up and then buy back into the same communities they've lived in their whole lives. That American dream has been fading. We've got to bring it back in. The climate emergency is critical. That's why voters in California passed Proposition 4 just this past November, a $10 billion climate bond, including $1.5 billion in wildfire mitigation, home hardening, and other investments to build up resilient communities. But let's not also forget that this is an economic crisis, period. The fact that folks who evacuated and had to live outside of their rental unit for a temporary period of time, many paying hotels for their lodging, can't now afford to pay their previous rents, speaks to just how by a string so many folks are hanging on. We've got to invest in better wages. We've got to expand economic opportunity. We've got to bring down affordability, and we've got to make California a place where everybody who calls it home has a chance to thrive. I'm willing to do this work. My colleagues are willing to do this work. It's time for us to get busy.
And speaking of getting busy, we know that we're only days away from the presidential inauguration. I know that the California delegation, the congressional delegation, among other lawmakers, have extended an invitation to President-elect Trump to come to California to tour the disaster. As of this hour, have you all heard any response from the president's transition team? And if and when President-elect Trump visits California, what are the most important sites you think he needs to visit first?
Yeah, I know Mayor Bass is leading those conversations with the president. She's doing a fantastic job bringing all levels of government into this crisis. This is not Los Angeles's burden alone. This is an American tragedy, and we've all got to step up at this dire moment. I think President Trump needs to go to the Palisades. I think he needs to go to Malibu. I think he needs to go to the historic Black communities in Altadena. I think he needs to see entire neighborhoods and communities that have been devastated. I think if he sees the real people impact of this emergency, maybe he'll tone down some of the rhetoric where we're busy pointing the blame at everything except climate change, accept drought, accept wildfire conditions. A lot of people don't recognize this, but CAL FIRE, our lead agency in the state, monitors wildfires across the state, and they categorize a wildfire as any fire that has burned at least 10 acres. Here in 2025, of which we are only 16 days in, we've had 150 wildfires, right? This is the reality of climate change impacting California. We have to prepare for it. We have to be more resilient, but we have to recognize when it strikes in a way that we've never seen before, that our firefighters have never seen before, in a way that is so drastic that if we had every fire engine in the entire state fighting it, we could not have pushed it back. That is not a time to point fingers and to point blame. That is time to roll up your sleeves and help somebody.
Our thanks to Assemblymember Isaac Bryan, who is up in Sacramento when he's not in his district, doing exactly that, helping folks, getting the word out, and doing so on your birthday. Again, happy 33rd birthday, Assemblymember.
Thank you.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580, the quiet part out loud when we come forward.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and just earlier today, I had a chance to visit the White House. I had a chance to see Vice President Kamala Harris cover a tradition that goes all the way back to the Ford administration. It's a tradition of signing the desk in the ceremonial office of the vice president at the White House. It dates back to the 1940s and also contains signatures from President Truman, Eisenhower, and Johnson. Just earlier today, had a chance to hear the vice president deliver very brief remarks before one of the very last ceremonial things that she'll do as the sitting vice president of the United States. I thought you all might want to check it out. And so for those of you that are streaming, take a look. For those of you that are listening, take a listen.
But I will tell you that everyone here has so much to be proud of. And our work is not done. And as you all know me, because we have spent long hours, long days, and months and years together, it is not my nature to go quietly into the night. So don't worry about that. But the ceremony of signing this desk is something that is especially important. So I hope everyone will get a chance to see the desk. But I have actually, I think with the exception of Truman and Eisenhower, met every person who has signed this desk, every vice president, former vice president. And, you know, we don't all, yeah, all of them. In fact, I talked to Mondale, Vice President Mondale, just days before he passed. And I will say that although many of us might have disagreed, me and some of the previous vice presidents, on certain matters, policy matters, I think we all probably have shared a very common experience that is a through line as evidenced by the fact that we have this tradition of signing this desk since 1940, I believe. And it is the work of caring about our country. It is the work of understanding we hold these offices in the public trust with the duty and the responsibility to uphold the oath we take, to respect, to defend the Constitution of the United States, to do our work on behalf of the people of the United States. And so I stand in a long tradition as the 49th Vice President of the United States, in a long tradition of vice presidents who have signed this desk. And I do so with great honor and with the knowledge that our work here has mattered, it has meaning, it has impacted people we may never meet, people who may never know our name, but who are ever, forever grateful for the work that you each and we all together have done. So I thank you all, and with that, I'm going to pull out the Sharpie. All right.
And there you have it. There you have it. Vice President Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris there, really one of her last ceremonial roles in the final days of the Biden-Harris administration. As many of you know, I've had the chance of covering the Vice President Harris beat for some time now, including travels abroad to Africa with Vice President Harris. We've been in Ghana and Tanzania and Zambia, and all of that is the subject of my book, Kamala, the Motherland and Me, which is available wherever books are sold. But it was the energy in the room was an energy of achievement. It was an energy whereby it was clear to me people were leaving with their heads held high. It was not, somber in any way, but it was pride in what they were able to accomplish. There are some people that are glass half full people, and there are some folks who are glass half empty people, and then there are folks that understand the glass is refillable. And I think there were a number of people in that room that were either glass half full or the glass is refillable. There wasn't a lot of glass half empty folks in that room. So much history made over the course of the past 4 years, and a lot that the vice president and her team are exiting the White House proud of. And certainly the opportunity to have a front row seat to history, to be able to cover a first draft of history. I certainly don't take that lightly. Every episode where we have talked to experts from the White House, where we have shared stories about what's happening or not happening, it has been a privilege to be able to do that and share it with each and every one of you. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village that helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tabitha Smiley, our sound engineer, Andy, our dynamic duo of producers, Faraji and Kim, and each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. Remember, don't panic, organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.